So whoever just joined, welcome. This is Federica. I'm part of the Doc City team, and I will be your host for today. It is a great pleasure for me to welcoming you to this live webinar in partnership with Alliance Manchester Business School. I'd like to introduce you to Becca Roberts. She's a senior career consultant at the university, and she's here to tell us more about how the university and team can support your career ambition. So Becca will be leaving you the floor, and I look forward to receiving all the questions from the students.
Thanks, Federica, and thank you everyone for joining today. It's great to have some faces on the call today. As Federica said, I'm going to be talking about the AMBS Postgraduate Career Service and how we can support you with your career ambitions, whether that's in the UK or whether that's globally. But before that, I will run through a few other things just for those of you who don't know about our business school. So I will run through a bit of an overview about the school. I'll talk about the postgraduate programs that we offer at AMBS. And when I say postgraduate programs, this is specifically our MSc programs, though we do offer other programs as well. And then I will talk through the career support that we have on offer. And then I will talk through our graduate destinations. So where our alumni have gone on to work and what they're doing now and how we support them as well. So just a bit of an introduction to me. So I'm Becca. I'm one of the senior careers consultants within the postgraduate career service. I have been working at the University of Manchester now for, well, it's over 6 years now. So it's been quite a while for me. For 5 of those years, I have worked in the Alliance Manchester Business School, and I've worked always with MSc students in various roles. I'm an experienced career professional, and I'm also a coach. I'm just working up to qualification now, so we'll soon be qualified as a careers coach as well. And right now, as I said, I am supporting those master's students in AMBS. In the past, I have also worked in the University of Manchester Central Careers Service, so supporting the 40,000+ students across the university. And I've also worked with academics on the MSc programmes, organising how the programmes run as well. And I aim to give students the tools and resources now in this role to help them achieve their career goals and help them to develop personally and professionally as well. Just a little bit about the school. So there's a few pictures up there for you, but just to talk you through it, I love the business school, and we have an absolutely fantastic building. It was actually regenerated in 2019. We're at the heart of the campus in the very centre, and I personally think we've got the nicest building of all of them. It's got some incredible spaces in there. So on the picture that we've got here, you can see one of our lecture theatres there. You can see our open study spaces. You can see the front of the building as well, which was recently revamped. We've got lots of different quiet areas and breakout spaces in the building for you to study and to relax. We've got some huge event spaces in there and lots of different meeting spaces as well for when we have employers coming in and things like that. We've got the Eddie Davis Library, which is in one of the pictures there, just to the bottom left, which overlooks Oxford Road, which is the main university road. We've also got a restaurant in there called the Mill Restaurant, as well as 2 cafes. So lots of social spaces for you as well. We've also got our data visualization observatory as well. So this is actually the first of its kind in the UK. It's a large scale visualization facility that AMBS has, and it offers interactive 3D visualization of data across full HD screens. So it really sets us apart from other business schools and campuses in that respect. We've also got a behavioural research laboratory as well, which is basically a lab to study human behaviour in a controlled setting. So it's just a dedicated space for conducting lab experiments across a range of business and management issues. We also have some outdoor spaces as well in the building. So we've got different courtyard areas, and out there we do also run lots of events and social events and things like that. And it's just a nice space for you to get to know other people on your programme and in your cohort. So just to give you an idea of some of the programmes that we have available, I think I'm actually missing a couple off this, new programmes that are starting this year, but just to give you an idea of what we've got over 17 programmes, MSc programmes that we run. and that we provide, as a career service, we provide dedicated support for. We're a triple accredited business school, as I've put on the slide there. And you can also see the rankings there for some of our key MSc programs. So, for instance, MSc Finance is actually 7th in the UK. MSc Marketing is 3rd. Our Operations, Projects and Supply Chain MSc is currently 1st in the UK. So we've got some quite high ranking programs at the moment, which we're really proud of. And we've also got the MSc International Business and Management program as well there, that's 5th in the UK. Just missed that one off. So what career support is available to you? So AMBS master's students are in a very good situation because they have 2 career services supporting them. So as an AMBS master's student, you get access to the AMBS Postgraduate Career Service, which we also call PCS, which is where I work. And we provide very specialised, tailored, bespoke support just for your MSc programmes. You are the only students across the university who have your own specialised dedicated team. And then also, in addition to that, you are able to access the university's central career service, which, as I said before, is for all students across the University of Manchester. And I'll go into what the 2 supports that we offer are now. So the postgraduate career service, as I said, bespoke and exclusive to you. It's just for our AMBS MSc students. At the moment, there's just over 1,000 students at the moment. So it's good because the team does get to know everyone really well on the programme, really build rapport with each of the students in a way that doesn't necessarily happen at other universities or across the university. So we provide one-to-one careers appointments. These can be in person or online. We deliver them at different times in the working day as well, so they're suitable to your needs and your timetables. The team have a lot of specialist knowledge to support. So if you're interested in a very particular job market or sector, we're usually able to support with that. So for instance, if you're interested in marketing, we will know a lot of employers, a lot of alumni will know a lot about the jobs out there and the job market. We also offer tailored workshops for your programs as well. Just this week, for instance, I've done a workshop with our MSc Organisational Psychology and MSc Business Psychology students. We've done a session around how to leverage your MSc, how their particular MSc actually can support them when they're searching for jobs, when they're talking about their skills to employers, whether that's an interview or on application. So we're here with those very dedicated workshops as part of your programs as well. We also have bespoke career development modules as well, which are interactive online modules that we have created specifically for you guys. So there's loads and loads of resources on there that you can access in your own time. And I think one of the things for me, which I always signpost students to, which I think is really important, is actually our podcasting series. So we've done a podcast over the last couple of years where we've invited our alumni, most of whom are international students, to kind of talk through their experience of applying for jobs in the UK or more globally, and to talk through their experience from application, searching, their interview, their visas. So we really go into the detail there. So I think it's a really good resource that we've got added onto those career development modules and within our resource library. But that's a run through of kind of what we do. So we're there from start to finish on your career journey, and we can support with all elements from CVs, applications, searching. Even if you don't know what you want to do, we're there to support with that as well. And that's kind of that dedicated service. So just to give you an idea of some faces, so I'm on there, you can all see me, but these are my other colleagues. So we've got Rosie, who's our careers manager, and she manages across both the MSc programs and the MBA. Got my colleague Kirsty, who I work very closely with, who's also a senior careers consultant. And we also have Michelle and Claudia, who are our careers consultants. And I think Claudia is on the call as well today listening. And such friendly faces, as I'm sure you can see, and they're all specialised in what they do, and they're all a really good source of support. So that's in comparison to the Central Careers Team. Now, the Central Careers Team, they support over 40,000 students across the university. So they are a huge service and they deliver things on a much larger scale than we do. But you still have access to them as well. So what they do that might be of interest is, for instance, they run employer events. So they have lots of employers on campus running different workshops or talking about their recruitment processes or what it's like to work with that company. So there's absolutely loads of employers that come in alongside Central Careers. They've also got a jobs board on there, so where they post lots of vacancies, and the jobs board is it's a great resource because lots of different employers post their vacancies on there and use it to post vacancies because they want University of Manchester students. So we get so many job vacancies. So it's a really, really good resource that I always recommend to students to use when they are doing that job search. We also have careers fairs that are run through that team as well. So these are, we have in the university, we're really lucky. We've got some really good big venues that actually in the evening are used for like music and things like that. But in the daytime, they can be used by the university for various events. And one of those events are careers fairs. So we invite in lots and lots of employers. They actually come onto campus. They're all in one big room, and they will bring kind of like their stands, their freebies, and lots of information about the kinds of roles that they have available at the moment. And they're there for you to ask any questions to kind of build that connection and find out, what opportunities are available. So we always recommend that you utilise those as well as a resource. As I said before, when I was talking about vacancies, we are a highly targeted university, and over the last few years in the High Flyers report, which I've put on this slide here, you can see we're second this year. We've always maintained first or second. In the UK, we are one of the most targeted universities. And I think the fact that we've been at that first or second place over the course of the last few years is just a testament to kind of how large the university is, and how much the staff put into supporting you into getting into those roles and networking with those employers to make sure they know the calibre of students that we have. So I've also just put up there a few different employers basically that we've had on campus over the last couple of years. So you'll see some really big names there, popular big four companies, or we've got tech companies like Amazon or banks, lots and lots of large companies. I've put those up simply because they are the ones that most people have heard of, but I appreciate that a lot of our master's students actually want to work with SMEs, startups, and we do have a lot of connections with those companies as well. But just as I said, I've just put those ones up there because they are the most well-known ones who have come onto campus. So just to give you an idea of graduate destinations, I'm not going to read through all of these, but I've just pulled a few of our programmes out there. So our accounting and finance programmes, our operations, projects and supply chain programme there, international business, and also our HR programmes. And as you can see there, again, I've put in mostly big names, some not as big, but these are the types of places that our graduates have gone on to work. We're very lucky in the amount of knowledge that we have about what our graduates do. As I said, it's really nice to be able to get to know all of you quite on an individual level. And it's always so nice to see people graduate, see what they go on to do, and to know that we've supported them through each of those steps as well. And they do keep in touch and they come back year on year. We have plenty of alumni who come in. They'll come in for our different events that we run. So we run every year, we run a big alumni event where we have a full alumni panel who talk about their experiences of being at the business school, of their MSc programme, of their job search and more, and what it's like in their current company now. And they do keep coming back, and they're always happy to speak to current students and give advice and tips and things like that. So we are very lucky to have such a strong alumni base and strong connection with them as well. I've also just popped a QR code on there just so you can see. So each year the website's updated with where more of our graduates have gone on to go. So if you are interested, do have a look on the website there using that QR code. So how can an AMBS MSc set you apart in the job market? So many ways is the answer. I'm a massive advocate for people doing MSCs for all of these reasons. So first of all, it shows that you've got advanced and specialized knowledge in your particular field. It demonstrates expertise. It demonstrates mastery of the field, and you're signaling to employers by doing an MSc in something so specific that you're very qualified, you're knowledgeable, and you're driven, which is really, really important. You also demonstrate kind of industry specific skills when you do an MSc as well. And you'll generate more of them. So MSCs in particular allow you to focus on very specific things. So data analytics, for instance, digital marketing, again, is very specific. They're all high in demand areas, very niche areas that you're going to learn a lot of specialized knowledge about that's very industry specific. You'll also build practical and analytical skills as well. So, for instance, you'll get problem solving expertise because most of the MSc programs kind of allow you to use your critical thinking skills or develop your critical thinking skills and help you to tackle complex real world challenges, I suppose. Many of the MSc programs actually kind of integrate very specific case studies and things like that, or even analytical tools and methodologies. So, for instance, some of them integrate data visualization or market research or financial modeling. So, again, all these very specific practical skills that you wouldn't necessarily generate elsewhere. Enhanced employability. So, most MSc students have higher job prospects on the point of graduation. They're often considered for more senior roles simply because they've got more advanced qualifications. We have also found as well that our MSc holders over our UG undergraduate holders actually have higher salaries. So if one of your values, one of the things that's important to you is getting that higher salary, then an MSc is absolutely a good reason to getting an MSc is absolutely a good way to kind of make sure that you're getting into that higher salary bracket as well. Industry relevant experience as well. So not all of our MSc programs, I mean, most of our MSc programs will have some level of kind of real world reflection. For example, I said before, a case study or something like that. But some of them do actually include real life client facing projects. I'm thinking in particular, say, just to think of one, our business analysis and strategic management program. This program, for instance, does offer a client-facing project where you work on a real-time, real-life consultancy project with a client. And there are other programs as well that have something similar in there. So it gives you that very, very specific industry experience that's very difficult to get elsewhere, particularly in consultancy, actually. So it's a very, very good opportunity. It's also good for networking purposes because, again, you get access to those industry experts that you wouldn't not normally get this access to. And you can learn from them and you can see them at work and you can work directly with them. So again, that's a very good reason to do one of these MSCs as well, that industry knowledge and building those connections as well. Can also think about it from a global perspective. Now, a lot of our MSCs prepare you for global roles by focusing on cross-cultural management or international markets. I know global trends is a big topic as well on all of the MSCs. So they do have that global focus, and some of them are actually international specific as well. So they are quite varied in that respect. But also, and perhaps more importantly, we have such a large cohort of international students. So the people you will meet from different countries will really help you. You'll get that exposure, I suppose, to like working with diverse people from different places, and it'll really kind of help you build that skill in working in multicultural teams as well. Adaptability and lifelong learning. So I think that I put this because what I think it shows is that not only got a you're not only demonstrating to employers that you have a willingness to learn, but it's kind of like future proofing your skills. Like it shows you're able to adapt to new technologies. You want to think about new trends. You're driven to stay relevant in a rapidly evolving landscape. So all of those things, are really important to show to employers when you get to that point of thinking about, oh, what do I want to do after this MSc? That's a really good skill set and a really good strength to have. And finally, credibility, professionalism, and recognition. So an MSc is a marker of you wanting to boost that kind of professionalism with employers. It shows, I've done this very specialist degree. I'm credible in my field. Like what I've said is what I've done. Like I want to be recognised. I've got this MSc from AMBS, and that shows what I can do, and it shows that I'm going to be a good employee. It shows that I've got all these skills that you're asking for. And it also as well, I think that it signals your readiness to kind of be put in at those higher levels, as I said before, to get into those more leadership positions, to get into those higher salaried roles or those more experienced roles as well. Um, I would like to say though that the MSc, while the actual knowledge you're learning on the MSc is really good and it's going to really set you apart from like most other students who are applying for roles. One of the other really good ways to gain experience and build that skill set is through other things that happen in Manchester. Manchester is such a fantastic city. I love living here. There's so much to do all the time, and the university it's just so big. There's so much going on all the time, and there's so much to get involved with. I've managed to condense it to 5 bullet points, but there's so much more that's going on, and you will see that if and when you arrive here. So just a few examples of other things that you can do through the university. We've got volunteering. So the university has a dedicated volunteering hub. There's a whole team dedicated to it, and they work either within the university to volunteer within the university or with local charities or other companies in the area. So it's a really good way to get diverse experience, build a skill set, and do something good as well. So that's a really good opportunity as well that I would really recommend. Other things like work shadowing as well are really, really important. We advertise those via the Central Careers team, via Career Connect. There are quite a few opportunities to shadow industry experts, and we can also support you with other ways to source your own work shadowing as well. So again, that's something we would recommend, and we do have lots of employers in Manchester as well who do get involved in that kind of thing. Part-time work as well, if that is something you're interested in, working alongside your studies, again to develop more skills, or perhaps you want more money while you're here, to make the most of Manchester. Lots of different reasons people do part-time work, but we have a brilliant they're called the job shop at the SU, the Students' Union, and they have lots and lots of part-time roles and support our students in getting part-time work, and we can assist with that as well. As I said before as well, I've put the Masood Entrepreneurship Centre here because I know that a lot of students are interested in startup companies, and it is a very popular thing to do right now. And we do have a dedicated team actually sat within the business school who do support with all elements of startup, freelancing, and they have lots of events on. There's lots of support there, and they support with funding and things like that as well. So that's a really good resource that we have that you should check out if you are kind of interested in going on to that after your degree. And I have listed just 2 societies here, but actually as part of our Students' Union, we've got over 400 clubs and societies, so that there are loads of them. But I've just chosen 2 that I've kind of worked with more specifically over the last few years. So 180 Degrees Consulting, they are student led, but they help socially focused organisations and very early kind of early stage startups. scale their impact, and they provide really high quality and affordable, because it's students working on it, affordable consulting services. So if again, consulting's come up a few times now, but if that's something that you are interested in, then they're a fantastic organisation to get involved with, because you will get that very specific experience. And that's not the only society like that. If there is something very particular you're interested in, such as marketing, there will be another kind of society that's linked in the same way, that can give you some experience that you wouldn't get elsewhere. And I've also put Accelerate ME, which is the largest student-led startup accelerator in the UK, I think, with a mission to kind of empower young founders to become great entrepreneurs, I think is their motto. So again, that's just another example of one of the clubs and societies that we work with. And finally, just on additional international career support. So as I said before, our cohort of international students is really big. They actually make up the majority of our student cohort. So we are very focused on international students, and whether people who want to stay in the UK and work in the UK, or whether they want to work more globally, we have lots and lots of support in place, and we are specialised to help with that. So we run careers events that are specifically tailored to international students. So the central careers team do run them for the whole university, but we internally do also run some events specifically to support people who are international, and specifically often who do want to stay in the UK as well, because we understand there's lots of visa issues and things like that. But we support with that. We also have interactive online modules, which are specifically for international students. And I've put in there as well that we've got a tailored resource called Going Global, which is basically kind of like almost like a career guide with lots of resources to support you to secure jobs and internships all around the world. So there's different country guides, city guides, there's a job search portal, an internships portal. I think there's even an employer directory on there, so you can kind of see all the places that are recruiting international students in lots of different countries. And likewise, again, as I said, we support with people who want to stay in the UK as well. We also kind of support with identifying unique qualities you can offer to employers as international students through our specialised career guidance. So you can book in those career guidance meetings with us, and we can specifically support you to be able to showcase your skills properly to employers. We're also partnered with an expert law firm who are called Latitude Law, and they provide information on the graduate visa and other post-study visa routes. If you do plan to work in the UK, they come in and do workshops with us. You can also have appointments one-on-one with them. So they're a resource that are so invaluable for our international students who we work very closely with. We also have access to a platform called eCareers Grad, who are direct students to a lot, actually. It's a really, really good resource, and they have this updated list of UK employers who are sponsoring students or who have sponsored students in the last 6 months to a year. And it really helps you with being able to target your job applications. And they also run regular sessions as well, which they always advertise through us, and we have that very close relationship with them to ensure that you're all getting the best support possible as well. So where would you see us? You'll see us, well, we actually run pre-arrival workshops. So if you were to join one of our pre-arrival workshops in the summer before coming to university, that's where we support with things like thinking about how you can make the most of your MSc, how to start thinking about graduate schemes and graduate roles, all that kind of thing. We run those over the summer period, and you would get an invite to that. So that'd be the first time that you meet us. And then after that, we do an induction with each MSc programme during the Welcome Week, so you would see us then as well. We also run lots of careers events, which we advertise all over the business school. You can't miss them, and we attend all of those as well. We also have our weekly careers workshops, so every week we'll put on a different workshop, so whether that's about creating a CV, job searching, how to do well at interview, that kind of thing. We have one on most weeks, and you're free to sign up and come along to those. As I said, we've got our one-to-one appointments where we can support you as well. And we do actually also, I haven't put it on there, but we run a drop-in service as well. So every semester it's on one particular day for a few hours. You can just come along and chat to one of us, and we'll just be in one of the big main corridors in our lovely building. So that's where you would see us. And that is it from me. Do we have any questions?
Thank you so much, Becca. Thank you so much for the presentation, and everything was actually very clear. And we did receive, and we are still receiving some questions, and hopefully we can answer them together. There was somebody I'm just going to mention that was asking regarding programs and scholarships. Thank you so much for your question. We will be actually pointing this question to the right team can support you. So I'm going to make sure that your question is forwarded to the right team, and also the webinar is recorded, and we're going to share with you the recording of the event, and also send you a follow-up email with some relevant information. So just wanted to mention this. Question. So one question is, should I decide which master is for me based on the career opportunities?
Oh,
So,
that's a hard one. I mean, it very much depends on the kind of individual circumstances, what the person's motivations are, what you want to do in the future. So it is a really difficult question. I would say if you've got a very specific career goal in mind, say for instance, you want to be an accountant, then I absolutely would recommend doing an MSc in accounting or accounting and finance or one of those programs. But a lot of people don't know what they want to do yet, and that is absolutely fine. And we're here to help with that. Like, we're all qualified coaches. We're here to help people make decisions. So if you've joined an MSc because you think, actually, this is quite interesting, I feel like, I will excel in this. This will give me some skills, but I'm still not sure exactly what I want to do after, then that's also fine. And then we're there to help support with that kind of job search and making that decision on what you want to do next.
perfect. Thank you. Juan is asking, as a career support, do you also prepare for virtual interview and face-to-face interview? So I'm not sure if in this case it's referred to the fact that it might be different, you might need to prepare differently. So what's the support in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have various levels of support. So as I said before, when we run those one-to-one appointments, they can be virtual or they can be in person. So not only do we have those two options, but also you have an option of what kind of appointment you want. So not to go into too much detail, but one of those appointment types is a mock interview. So you can book to have a virtual mock interview, or you can book to have a real life in-person mock interview as well. So that's probably one of the best ways to do it, is to actually go in and practice it. And I'll act as an interviewer and give you feedback and support you to kind of form those answers in a better way. We do also do kind of other things as well, like we do different workshops where there's like kind of peer-to-peer feedback, so you can practice in a more relaxed environment. We also do mock assessment centres and that kind of thing. Yes, basically is my answer. There's a whole range of resources to support with all types of interviews.
Thank you. Asking us if you could share some stats about employment rate, and if in general there is a field where there are more chances to get a job.
Oh, right. Okay, so employment stats I don't have to hand, I'm afraid, because all I've got up on my screen at the moment is this presentation. So I don't have them to hand. We will have them. I don't know how I could feed those back, Federica, whether there's a way we could do that.
We can, and I'm not also sure if this information might be on the website. Could be, it could be. Okay.
I think so. So how it works is, I think normally there's a kind of survey which you'll all be asked to do, where and it's usually a couple of years after you graduate. So we have more informal data that we collate just from our graduates that have just left, but then a couple of years down the line is where we get people to formally fill in that survey and give us kind of data based on where they are. But as I say, we informally, just because we know the students so well, kind of know where they've all gone on. to go. And I've got a lot of them on LinkedIn. I've actually, the QR code on the screen, by the way, is a link to my LinkedIn. So if anyone does want to kind of connect with me on there, if you leave this webinar and then in a week or so's time, you're like, oh, I've got a career question, like feel free to pop me a message and connect with me. Got off topic there. But yeah, that's how we know kind of where all our students are mostly, and we just by knowing them and knowing what they've gone on to do. And then of course we do have more specific stats that are from that formal survey, which yes, probably are somewhere on the website. But I would have to look at that separately and send that over.
The question about if there is a field where there are more chances to get a job. I know this is hard. In case you have any sort of advice, I guess probably someone that's not sure what
Yeah.
could be the best.
I feel as though, from my perspective, watching students secure different job roles at the moment, everyone's in a phase where they're applying for graduate schemes in particular, and I wouldn't say there's necessarily a field within this kind of world of our MSc programs that is like kind of recruiting less. I think being a business school student is a good place to be, simply because there's always jobs available in these sorts of industries and areas. If you were to be in kind of another school, maybe in, I don't know, one of the arts, languages and cultures or something like that, maybe less so. But from what I've seen of the business school, I don't think there is anywhere at the moment that I would say is a risky area. But again, that's just my perspective of what I've seen over the course of the last year or so.
Correct. Oh, this question I think is when you shared us some logos of the company. So as for the big consulting companies, are you also preparing students on how to cope with the stress?
The stress of
I guess the
applying, the stress of
stress or maybe
working.
being in like big consulting companies, I guess like working a lot, probably also like the environment, the industry, some sort of how to deal probably with the first
Yeah,
job.
I mean, the MSc in itself is very, very busy. And I'm at a time of year now where students are coming to appointments and they've got a lot on. It's difficult. It's a very, very challenging thing to do in MSc. And if anything is going to put you in good preparation for joining one of those companies in terms of tiredness or stress levels, or however that question was phrased, then actually doing an MSc is definitely one of the ways to do that. But I would say it, although it can be stressful working at those companies, it can feel stressful doing an MSc. Like, what an amazing thing to do! Like, such a brilliant challenge to go into. There's plenty of students that I know who work at those companies who are having a great time and they really thrive in that environment. And yes, it's a lot, but they're enjoying it and they're doing brilliantly in it. So try not to think of it from that kind of negative perspective. If it is what you want to do, there will be so many positives. And yes, the MSc will prep you for that.
Okay, thank you. So Filippo is asking, are you going to support with internship? Can it be done outside the UK?
Oh, so internships are difficult. So I will be so to be totally honest with this one, when you're a MSc student, you are a full-time student from September until September. So internships traditionally are advertised at it's normally like second year students actually, to do between that second and third year of their undergraduate degree. Whereas when you're an MSc student over that summer period, you'll be working on you'll either have a group project, a dissertation, or you'll be doing some sort of client-facing project or sort of an internship. So if you are on a program where work is sourced as part of the program, then you'll already be doing that anyway. But otherwise, you would be expected to be working on your dissertation over that time, and it might be you wouldn't be able to do a full-time internship alongside doing that. That being said, there are other ways that you can gain kind of professional experience over that summer period. So as I mentioned before, you've got your part-time jobs, your volunteering. As I said, some of the programs have client-facing projects or internships as well. So there are various ways that you can still gain that specific experience. But I think sometimes internships mean something different in different countries, which can be which can be quite confusing. So that's based on internships in the UK, because that's what they are here. In some countries, internships are kind of 6 months to a year long, and will take place right from September onwards. Which, yes, we can support you with sources, like finding those and getting into those, but it just means something different in the UK. So it's just important to give some awareness about those differences, I suppose.
You. So somebody says, I have done an MBA in finance, but I'm not really sure if I should go for a Master of Science or a PhD. So I don't know if maybe this question means like I don't know if I should continue studying with a PhD or if I should move to a master. What sort of opportunity in terms of graduate?
Well, again, that's quite hard because I'd have to speak to the individual properly and do chat to them properly about it. But PhDs normally set you up to kind of have like a research job or be a lecturer or academic in some way. So that's something to consider, and then also to consider whether the MBA and the MSc, whether having already done the MBA, how much value is that MSc going to have? Is it going to give you? How different is it? Are you going to be developing the skills that you are looking for whatever it is that you want to do? But it's quite hard for me to answer without having a proper conversation.
Perfect. Okay, so somebody says, as an Italian student, will it be harder to get a job after graduation comparing to a UK student? So in terms of like, let's say I graduate, what are the chances to get hired from a company? Is it important the country where the students are from, or does it play a role?
It's a hard question to answer. Again, I work with mostly international students. There are a few home students, but I wouldn't say that one student finds it more difficult than another to go through the processes. I'd say the only disadvantage is sometimes if you've already, say for instance, you've already utilised your 2-year visa that you can use to work in the UK and you have to be sponsored, you'd have to make sure you're finding a job with a company who sponsors. And that can be difficult to find, but again, that's what we're here to help with. So that adds a level of complexity. I suppose what I'm saying, it adds a level of complexity, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's more difficult for one student over another. And I think all students really experience the same kind of the same anxieties around job hunting and interviews and things like that. So
Perfect. And one thing I also wanted to ask, so when you mentioned about all these services that the students are actually being able to choose from to pick, is this something that is actually with the welcome pack? So basically, and as soon as the students starts, get to meet the career service team, how basically when you get to meet the students in their journey at the university?
Immediately, actually sometimes before. So if you sign up to a pre-arrival workshop, you'll see us before, and we run those on campus and online over the summer, depending on where people are. So we have both, but we make sure we go and visit every single program in the first week, and we run a kind of small session. They're usually quite interactive as well, what we do, so you all kind of get to know each other a bit more, get to know us. But yeah, we're very present, and you won't miss us. We're around all the time.
And if you have to say, like in general, like, when somebody is approaching to look, let's say, for a job that could be sometimes similar, about approaching to study or deciding to enroll to a master program, what do you think would be your suggestion for students in terms of like attitude, or even if you have some sort of tips in terms to prepare?
To prepare for the MSc?
I would say like for the MSc, but also like whenever, you get to meet them, what sort of advice you usually give in terms of like, okay, I'm ready to start to look for a job.
So the advice I always give, so we have a lot of, this isn't the case for all students, by the way, obviously everyone's different. as I said before, but a lot of students know kind of exactly what they want to do and they want to work in the UK, and a lot of them very specifically want a graduate scheme, and that's kind of I'd say a lot of the students are in that position, and it's to come and be immediately ready to start on that career journey. The undergraduate students have, kind of a couple of years to like mess around and not really think about it, and then they're already comfortable in the university. They've been there for a while, and then they can start working on those job applications. But I think it's harder for international master's students in particular, because you fly over, you start the MSc, and you've immediately got to start looking for graduate schemes because they open so early here. They open between September and December. So that's the first message we give, is if you do want to do a graduate scheme, start talking to us now, and we can help you. And, we always appreciate it's early and it's a lot because you've just moved and you've just started this master's and you're just getting used to a new place. But the team are so supportive and so good at advising and getting students into a good place to apply. And that's my main messaging, is if you do have a plan and that is what you want to do, then to start early. I think that's my main tip.
Perfect. So we're coming, let's say, towards the end of our webinar, and I can see that we did answer to the lots of questions. Actually, another question: what is the most and less requested program at the moment? I don't know if Rebecca has this answer. I
No,
don't.
I don't have
I
access to that, I'm
don't think
afraid.
so. Which probably could also be related in terms of like application. So as we mentioned, like today was mainly to show you all the services that the career service team can provide to students. And in case you have question like this one, for example, in terms of like acceptance rate to a program or scholarships, absolutely, or like the program itself, somebody was actually asking about if they offer a master's degree in climate change. So all of these sort of questions here, we're mainly talking about the business school. And actually, Becca went through the list of programs at the beginning. And so it's mainly this, but definitely we don't want to leave your questions unanswered. So we're going to make sure that we pass them to the right team. Becca, in your opinion, what are the soft skills that are more appreciated by the employers? Do you teach at the
Yeah,
uni?
soft skills. So definitely teamwork comes up all the time when we ask employers, and we do so many group projects on the MSc programs, and students do have to work on so many things as a group, and in a very diverse group as well, actually. That I think it means you're able to really, really demonstrate that skill to employers. Being able to communicate well, again, something that international students often as well don't appreciate that they're really good at, because they often have another language, which I don't have. I can't speak any other languages. And it's always amazing to me when I'm speaking to a student from another country who's so fluent, and I'll say, well, what do you have that makes you different and sets you apart? And they never think about the fact that they can speak multiple languages. It's just such a good thing to have, which I appreciate isn't a soft skill, but is a skill that's really, really valued in the UK. So teamwork, communication, and I think being able to sometimes demonstrate those leadership skills as well. I think at some point during the MSc, all students will have an opportunity to lead on something, whether that's through group work or something else. And I think that is a skill that's really valued at the moment as well in terms of soft skills.
Thank you. This question I think is hard, so we might let's try to tweak it a little bit. So, looking for a business school, how do you think Alliance Manchester Business School stands out from others in the UK? So maybe why don't we talk about what makes the business school unique? We mentioned about the career service, and I have to say that the services that you guys provide are amazing. I also saw on the website there is like support on choosing the right program and how to sell yourself in a way after you graduated. So like learning how to present what you've learned, which I think is great. And I'm not sure I've seen these somewhere else, I'm going to be honest. But can you think of something else like
I mean, there's so many business schools, it's hard to do a comparison between all of them, but I do know that I know of business schools that don't do things that I know we do. So, for instance, quite a few of our programs have those client-facing interactions, which you don't tend to get in other business schools. There is a business school that I work quite closely with who I know don't have those. And I think that um, we have a very strong employer network and alumni network, and we have a whole team dedicated just to that, to make sure that we have all those connections so that you're all in a really good position to not only like get tips but get opportunities as well. So that that's good. I think, and really sets us apart. I also think as well, just being part of it, and this isn't necessarily actually business school related, but being part of like such a large university, like one of the largest in the UK, there's so much going on all the time. And, we are still, even though we're Alliance Manchester Business School, we are still all one university, and there's just so many opportunities in the University of Manchester more generally. But I think that would be kind of my main thing, is you get a very dedicated service. Like, you've got us, like a dedicated careers team, you've got a dedicated student support team as well that are brilliant, that I know very well. We have lots of employer engagement. We have there's lots of stuff going on in the business school as well that, even passes me by sometimes. There's just so much going on there. It's such a thriving place, and it's a nice place to be. So that's all the answer I can give, really, without proper kind of data or having done a comparison with all the other business schools. And also the fact that we're rated very highly, like on all the rankings, we're high up. So I think that just numbers in itself give you an idea of how well respected we are as an institution.
No, absolutely. And then also for whoever, is joining the session, and I'm sure that many more, we might rewatch the video later. As you can see, the team is very much approachable. I mean, Becca just shared LinkedIn profile on this slide. And I think the best way is actually to reach out and ask questions, because each of you might have a different background, might have a different career goal, ambitions. And I think what is great is actually having the opportunity to discuss your career goals and ambition with somebody that can really help you make the difference, and also guiding you what could be the best career for you, like, I guess, tailored for what might be your ambition, personalities, and background. So I really wanted to thank Becca, because the overview was great, and also for all the questions, because I guess we receive very interesting question regarding how to approach the right program, and also how to make sure that say the company I might end up with might be the right for me. So I wanted to thank Becca, and I wanted to thank all of you for being connected. I'm just going to put a link on our chat for DocCT certificate of attendance. There is a link that you can click, fill in the form, and download your certificate. As we mentioned, the event is recorded, so we will be able to share with you, so you can rewatch it in case you miss some details. And we're also going to send an email over the next few days, where you also have some relevant information about the university, a brochure with all the courses and the services. So we look forward to seeing you soon at the next live webinar with the Alliance Manchester Business School. Becca, thank you so much for your time and for your precious advice. Thank you. Thanks, bye.